Chapter 7 is about real numbers and the Pythagorean theorem. So we're going to talk first about square roots and perfect squares. A square root of a number is a number that, when you multiply it by itself, it equals the given number. That sounds confusing, but I'll explain it in a minute. Every positive number has a positive and a negative square root, and a perfect square is a number with an integer as its square root. So, if you look at these numbers, this number 1 times 1 is 1. This is a perfect square. The square root of 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. The square root of 4 is 2. So, this number 4 is a perfect square. This is a list of perfect squares, and we can go down and look through all of these, and they will be helpful when solving problems, which I will show you in a minute. Okay, on this one it says find the square root of this perfect square, 49. So what we would do is look at our little chart here and look for 49. We're going down the list here and I see, oh, right there is 49. 49 is 7 times 7. So our square root of 49 is 7. That's one of them, and the other one is negative 7, because negative 7 times negative 7 is equal to 49. 7 times 7 is also equal to 49. So if you take the square root of 49, you could get 7, or you could get negative 7. So this little symbol here is called the radical sign, and we use it to represent square roots. So if you should see this number 49 under one of these things that looks like a division sign with a little tail out front, that thing is called a radical sign, and it means what is the square root of 49. The number under the radical sign is called the radicand. So here, this square root of 16 equals 4. That's a positive square root. If I put a negative outside the front, when I take the square root, I get 4, but I add that negative to it. So this is negative square root. And if I put this plus sign and a minus sign stacked on top of each other, that means I want the positive and the negative answer. So for number 2a, find the square root of 25. So I look at my chart, or you can think about it without your chart, but you look down here for the number 25, and you see that it is 5 times 5. So the square root of 25 is 5. Notice there's nothing in front, so it's just going to be positive 5. For b, this one looks weird. What we're actually going to do is take the square root of 9 over the square root of 16. And we want the negative answer. Right there it says negative, so we want the negative answer. So looking for the square root of 9, I see that that is 3. And let's look for the square root of 16 as well. So right here, 9 over 16 would be 3 over 4. So we get 3 over 4, and it's a negative. So remember, you're going to take the square root of the top and the square root of the bottom. For a number like this, well, we already know because of the sign in the front, we want a positive answer and a negative answer. But how do we get the square root of 2.25? If I look back here, and I look down my list I'm looking for 225. I don't see it there. Coming down here, there it is, 225. This we can kind of use it, well, we can use it, except the answer that we had a decimal point in it, which means our first numbers would also have decimals in them. So the answer to this would turn out to be not 15, but 1.5. So if I take 1.5 and I multiply it by 1.5, I end up with 2.25. So the square root of 2.25 is 1.5. Here are a couple for you to try. Find your square roots and then come back and check your answers. Okay, for number 1, I got 6 and negative 6. For number 2,